on the next step, which is adding our mat board to our project. Okay, so you're gonna get a piece of mat board. It's a square that's cut out. You'll come in and check with me on this. You'll get this and you'll look and see this one here has a little bit of printing on it, or has a mark. And so of course this would be best used as the back of it. So I'm gonna make sure that's there. And I went ahead and wrote my name already. So make sure you're writing your first and last name on the back so we can identify it. And then you're going to just take your mat, flip it over, and we are going to start off with figuring out the midpoint of our mat, so the very middle here. To do that, you're going to need a straight edge. You can use literally anything because we're not actually measuring, we're just kind of connecting these corners so we can draw an X in the middle. And so I'm going to take this ruler, and I noticed that whenever I line this up here, it doesn't go all the way down here to the edge, and I want to make sure that I have it exactly right. So you can use, I ended up using kind of two different things, but if you have something that's like longer, like maybe the side of your sketchbook or a piece of cardboard or a longer ruler, that works out just fine. I'm going to take this ruler here and line it up with a corner. And then maybe I'll take this brush right here just to kind of further line it up. I think it's gonna roll away from me. Okay, so I'm lining up this corner here. Next I'm gonna use this corner over here. I could also use this foam tray. And I'm just trying to basically extend my line to the other corner, right? So making sure I'm right on the corner there. And I'll hold that down. And I actually don't need the line to go all the way. I need the ruler to go, but the actual line just kind of needs to be towards the middle. So it doesn't have to go the full way, right? So on mine, you can see I have a little bit of space down here. I have a little bit of space up here. Okay, I'm gonna turn this and do it the same way. So I'm basically going across this way now, but for my setup currently, it's easier for me to just turn it and draw again the opposite direction. So I'm gonna line this up at the corner. I'm gonna use whatever material I'm using to help kind of extend my ruler line down there. There we go. That's that right. And I'm going to, again, draw my line. And it's okay if it doesn't go all the way to the corner. I just need it most of the way. Okay, so you can see this. This is the very center of my mat here. I'm going to take my aluminum at this point, and I'm going to center it on here. And I'm going to try to match up the corners of this X the best that I can. Let's see. And this one's a little bit off. I'm going to try to bring this down just a little. That looks like that's right. Okay. So this is about the middle part here. So I'm basically trying to make each line of my X extend right out of that corner there. Okay, to find that very middle point. And as long as it's very close, right? I had to move mine down just a hair. But as long as it's really, really close, it's probably gonna look fine. It doesn't, if it's like this corner right here looks just a tiny bit off, but the rest of them look pretty good. So I know, okay, I've pretty much got it there. So I'm just tracing carefully around here. Just dragging my pencil because I want this to be nice and light around. And now I have my square. Okay, so it looks pretty centered. The edges look pretty similar. They might not be exactly 100% equal, but they're pretty darn close, right? And so I think that's gonna work out for us, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and look at a couple of different ways that I can start on my design for this portion here. Okay, so for some people, they might like to just place their metal here, their aluminum, kind of in that square that we started, and they might want to just kind of mark the edges of their designs that they had going, and then start free drawing the rest of their design around here, okay? That's totally a cool option if that works for you. For me specifically, I really like these dots, these little circles that I did right here for this design, and I know that I'm probably gonna spend more time stressing over making this exactly right for this portion down here because I like how it looked on my draft. I'm probably going to spend so much time working on that part, it may not be the best use of time. And so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take my original paper here and I'm going to flip it over, and you can see that I've already kind of colored in the back with my pencil. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a transfer. So you want a solid shading around here. It doesn't have to be really dark. And you're just using a regular #2 pencil. If you have your art pencils and you want to use a B pencil, you can. I just wouldn't use one that is too soft, okay? So as long as it's close to a #2 pencil, that'll work out just fine. I just wouldn't use any of those H's. Okay, so I'm just using the side of the lead to kind of shade around so you can kind of see these parts that I did right here. And I'm also going a little bit past or a little bit inside of this square that I have, okay? Just so I can make sure that I'm getting any of those details and having a little bit of overlap just in case when I attach my metal, if for some reason there's like a raised area, I don't have a piece of blank mat board showing underneath. Okay, I want it to look like it's a very consistent design all the way through. It kind of has a little bit of magic to it. Okay, I'm gonna take off this extra piece of tape right here. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just shading all the way around here. So I'm gonna finish adding in my light layer. It doesn't take a super long time, but I am going to do this part off camera. So I will be right back. Okay, it is shaded and ready to go. I've kind of just gone all the way around here. I overlapped my edge of my metal just a little bit on my, where my paper showed that at. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. Now, in order to make sure that this matches up, because that is important, I'm going to take my folds that I used back a couple steps ago, and I'm going to start kind of lining up. So I know this fold here has to line up here. Okay, so that looks pretty good on this line, so I'm going to hold that right there, and then I'm just going to fold this back and check here. And I have a lot of space here, so I need to kind of just shift this over this way a little bit. Okay, that looks about right. I'm going to double check this part right here. Okay, that's still looking good. I can kind of fold this one back. I didn't fold this one too much to begin with, so I think that's probably okay. And I can check this one down here. This one looks like it's just a little bit short. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring it up just a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, and this is probably because sometimes whenever we are folding things over other things, there's a little bit of a margin of where that fold is. That takes up a little bit of real estate on our paper. And so it might not be 100% exact, but we want it, again, to be just pretty close. All right, so I'm good to go here. If you would like to just use your hand to hold it down, you can. If you would like to use a piece of tape or two to do that, you're welcome to do that. And then for the next step, you're going to be tracing that design, okay? And this is, again, the part that exists outside of the square, okay? And you can use your colored pencil again if you wanted to, like last time. I think I might just for ease of use. Okay, so I've got this. I'm just going to kind of fold this down, and I am tracing over my lines like this. And for me on this one, I don't think I'm going to do the circles just because I feel like I can do that pretty easily pre-drawing it, but these wavy parts I definitely want to make sure I've got. Okay, but then whenever I lift this up, I can start to see a faint line that's happening right here. Okay, and we've just created a transfer. This is a really helpful thing that you can do if you need to transfer your drawing from one medium to the next. I do something like this at home sometimes if I need to transfer a sketch from my sketchbook onto like a piece of canvas or something like that, or whatever else material I happen to be using. Okay, and then I'm just kind of extending this here. Now, this part, I ran out of some space here, so what I can do is I can go over with my pencil. I wouldn't use colored pencil for this part. And you can just extend those lines out past okay? And you can do it for all of it. If you don't want to go over every single thing, that's totally fine. You don't necessarily have to. I think it might be helpful maybe to do your dividing lines just a little, but it's up to you. Okay, my main thing is I really wanted to make sure that I nailed these proportions in again because I really liked it. But it depends on how your design is and how you feel about it and your normal style of doing things. It all depends on you. Okay, so I'm going to do the ones that I know are going to be trickier for me to kind of recreate. Like this one up here. Or the ones that, it's going to really bother me if I don't just nail the original design. Okay, and that's what I'm working on for transferring parts. Okay, so I'll come back to you here in just a few minutes. Okay, so I've gone through and I've done the ones that I am most concerned with, and I want to make sure that you guys are checking kind of every so often. So before I fully remove this, I'm kind of just looking around the edges to see if I've got kind of a ghost of what I need for me to be successful. Okay, and so I'm going to take off my tape here. I am going to save this paper for future reference. Okay, but I can look and I can see what I managed to kind of overlap here. Remember, we wanted to bring this in over this line just a little bit so that when we're shading in with our colored pencils later on, if we have a gap, it still has kind of a seamless look to it. It looks like, we don't get to see any of those plain spots. Okay, so now that I've got this taken care of, I am going to go ahead and erase these lines that I don't really need right here. So kind of that little X line. And then I can take my pencil and start sketching over my ghost lines that I have. So like this one goes here. Kind of like that. And then as I'm finishing up my design or kind of working on the beginnings of my design, it's always good to go ahead and take your metal and just double check and make sure that the lines that you have still make sense. Right, so that the angles still kind of match up. Okay, even though we traced it, sometimes things just go a little bit different, or like maybe our metal kind of got bent in a different way. And so we just want to make sure that we have that nice transition from metal to matte, and we're just kind of double checking that along the way. So it's good to do a couple of sketches and then match it up and make sure, okay, yes, I'm on the right track. This is where it's supposed to go. Cool, I've got it. And then keep moving through. Okay, so this is all for this step. We'll talk about the next one in our next video.